Genuinely believe that the first thing that you do every single morning will dictate how you spend your entire day. Because for a while, I used to wake up and I would check my phone. I would either go on social media or I would start playing like video games. And as soon as I woke up, I bombarded myself with a lot of dopamine. And what it did to me was if I bombard myself with dopamine, what do you think will happen in the long run? Like when it's time to do the hard work? Well, if my level of dopamines are like at 100%, right? And dopamines, if you don't know, before I explain to you, dopamine is the thing that makes you want to achieve and wants and makes you want to pursue hard things. So if you have a high amount of dopamine, then it means that you're more ready to achieve and pursue things, hard things. But if your dopamine levels are low, what it means is you will most likely not want to pursue those things. So what ended up happening was I would start my day and I would use, like, I would give myself a high amount of dopamine. So, what happens if I give myself a high amount of dopamine? My levels were at 100 and I spike my levels to two, three, 400s. So, you would think that I would be ready, right? I would be ready to tackle the day and want to pursue hard things. But that is not how dopamine works. The way dopamine works is if I spike my levels by achieving cheap dopamine, by doing cheap dopaminergic activities. And what it means is activities that gives dopamine without actually requiring you to put any efforts. So social media, video games, uh, pleasuring yourself, eating junk food, anything that gives you instantly dopamine, but that you didn't have to put really any efforts. Opening your phone is not really putting any effort. So, those activities, if you do them, it spikes your dopamine level so much. But what happens after that is when you stop doing those pleasureful activities, as soon as you stop, you experience a huge drop. And that drop is basically the exact same level of dopamine that you got plus an extra uh like amount of dopamine that is basically creating a craving. So how it works is it spikes up, and when you stop, it's a way for your brain to tell your body, you know what, I really enjoyed that activity, so I'm gonna make you feel like you want, like you crave more of it. I'm gonna create a craving feeling for you. So this is why it drops below your baseline level of 100. So if I play video game when I wake up, if I check social media and I see something that gave me a lot of dopamine, what ends up happening is I create like a huge spike, but I then lower my level so that it creates a craving. But when my level of dopamines are so low, right? I've been playing video games for 1 hour, 2 hours. I've been checking social media as well. My dopamine levels might not be at 100%. It might be 60, 70. And actually, forgot the percentage. Just say it's a number. If it's at 100% and I spiked it so high, well, I might have created a huge craving after that. So my levels are maybe 50, 60. But the task that I need to do, the big task, the huge task that I need to do is something like it will require me 70 points, right? How do I expect to start that task now if I don't even have the necessary amounts of dopamine to start it? Why? Because when I woke up that morning and decided to play that video game to go on social media, I used the dopamines that I had in my bank on those pleasureful activities, and it released so much dopamine, and then it created a craving. So right now I don't want to do anything. What my body craves is the exact same thing that I gave it when I woke up, right? Because it was easy. Why would I pursue hard, difficult work if I can get that dopamine by doing cheap activities that are easy for you to do? This is what your brain tells you. Like, why would you waste my time, right? Because I know I'm gonna get dopamine once I finish that big hard task. But I could also get dopamine right now by going on your phone. You could give me dopamine right now. Just open your phone, please. Right? This is what your brain tells you. So why would your brain send the signal that, okay, now you need to do the hard work. Let's go work hard. Doesn't make any sense, right? But when you wake up in the morning and you tackle that hard work first, what happens? That dopamine, it dips a bit, right? Because let's say you needed to work hard and that task requires like 25 dopamine levels and you have 100. It dips because it's hard to actually start it. It's really hard to start a task, like a hard task. And you know that's why you keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. But once you start it, you know, nothing really happens. Like your level stays relatively the same. But once you finish it, what happened is you it was so hard for you to start, right? And it was reward, it was challenging. And when you finish it and you're accomplishing, it's really rewarding. So because it was hard to do and because it required a lot of efforts, when you finish it, it gives you a spike of dopamine. And instead of like dipping below the baseline, it's a spike that goes above the baseline and it's a consistent spike. And why is that? It's because you actually had to work for it and for a while you were below your baseline. And when you finish that work, it puts you up above that baseline. And this is why basically the cold showers and the cold bath works is because for a while you dip really below the baseline of your dopamine levels. And when you exit it, it spikes back up because it's a way for your body and brain to counterbalance like the dopamine levels and right because otherwise you would just be like it would feel like you have taken like drugs hard drugs and if you were on social media nonstop, right, it has to counterbalance those effects because otherwise you would be in pure ecstasy. So it doesn't work like in if a pure feeling of euphoria. And if you were to do something like that is hard for you, like let's say saunas are hard for you or cold baths, then you would always be in a like a state where you're not feeling well and you're a painful state, right? Let's say that. But your body tried to counterbalance those states. So this is why when it's hard and you finish a task that's hard, your dopamine actually skyrocket. Like you get a huge spike. But that spikes last. It's a last longing spike for at least a couple of hours. So this is why when you wake up in the morning and the first thing that you do is a win, and it's a win that gives you dopamine. It's like placing the first, like the foundation for a house. It's like having a good foundation for the rest of your day. So this is why it's so important that you start your day with a good win because it tells your body, you know what, that felt good. I have the energy and the dopamine necessary to achieve the next thing that I need to do right now or that I need to do today. So instead of starting your day going on your phone and creating that craving and dependency that you will have for the rest of that day. Because, like I said, if you start your day on your phone, it gives you dopamine. So, why would you chase? Why would you spend your time chasing a hard activities, a hard task? Why would you purposefully start it if you can get the exact same amount of dopamine on your phone, right? Doesn't make any sense. But like we said previously, it's cheap dopamine and it's not lasting. So this is why you need to start your morning every single morning with a huge hard task, like the biggest task that you need to do. You start it first thing in the morning. Don't think about it. Just start it. Start your day like as soon as you wake up. This is what I personally do. As soon as I wake up, I go and I write for 45 minutes. That's the first thing that I do every single day. I wake up and I go write. Then when I'm done writing, I have like I have a huge sense of accomplishment because I worked hard for a long, hard task and I accomplished it. And it's rewarding and it sets huge foundation, a solid foundation that for the rest of my day, I have that foundation to rely on that. You know what? I started the day with a huge win and it felt rewarding. So I want to continue and I want to chase that feeling of accomplishment. So this is why you need to stop starting your day by going on your phone or watching social media, playing video games, whatever it is. Start your day instead with something challenging that when you do it, when you finish it, it's going to be really rewarding for you. Try it tomorrow morning, and I promise you that it will change your whole day. And I promise you it will change your whole day once you do it. I really believe that because when I started incorporating it in my day, I felt like I wanted to just work and accomplish new things and less go and waste my time. So, like I said, trust me, just blindly trust me. And tomorrow morning, this is the first thing that you're going to do is work on something that is hard and rewarding.